with so much going on, obviously National Signing Day and you know, big signing day party over there, and then team meeting at noon, and we're honoring a bunch of graduates today. So a lot of our players and some of our support personnel from our managers, trainers, video are graduating tomorrow. So we have a luncheon that's going on upstairs. So just had the opportunity to put the stoles on all of our players, and that's always a neat experience to be able to do that with our guys. But you know, this is one of those days that each and every year I think the program is measured by, and I definitely feel like we got better for sure. And for me, it's always exciting when a guy chooses to come to Clemson, because these guys all have many opportunities, and when they choose to come and be a part of it, it's always special. I appreciate all of them. I appreciate their parents for believing in us, believing in me, believing in our coaches, our vision for our program, and so just really thankful to the young men that have chosen. This is, I think our ninth top 15 class in a row, for whatever that means. But I do know this: we've become very consistent. And on the field, off the field, you know, you go upstairs at the graduation thing going on right now, and it just never ends. You know, you got guys going out the door, you got guys coming in the door. And I love that whole transformation process that takes place from that high school kid that walks into that grown man graduate who's getting ready to go out into the next phase of his life. So it's really special, but we've been very consistent. And I don't have any doubt that this group will be special. I mean, this is the biggest class that we've signed, I believe, since my 2011 class. I think we signed 29 that year. And you go back to that class, that was the Grady Jarrett, Stephon Anthony, that whole group. And you think about what they accomplished in 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 for our fifth-year seniors, like a B.J. Goodson, for example. You know, it's amazing what that class went on to do. And that's really kind of how I measure those guys. For sure, I believe Adam Humphries was in that class, you know, and he was one of those guys on signing day. Everybody's looking, why are y'all signing that guy? You know, and I think Adam Humphries turned out pretty good and is making a pretty good living playing pro football. And vice versa, Sammy Watkins, pretty good guy to sign too. And it was as advertised. So all across the board, it's just neat for me to kind of, because I think time tells ultimately how you did. I don't think present day rankings really matter that much, because that's on potential. I think the rest of it's based on performance. We've never signed the #1 ranked recruiting class since I've been the head coach in 10 years, but yet we're I think maybe second or third in wins over the last 10 years. So I think that speaks to the evaluation and the development that we have in place here in our program. But I think this group will turn out to be special, and can't wait to see what they do over the next 4 or 5 years, just like that last big class that we signed back in 11. We're graduating the winningest senior class in ACC history, and you know, if they find a way to win 2 more, it'll be the winningest class in college football history. So obviously we've got some very talented individuals that are leaving, and it's critical that we bring in a great group to replace them. And I think that we've done that. We signed 26 today, 16 mid-years. And most of these guys have been committed for a long time, whether it be back in the spring, summer, or even early part of August. Most of this class has been together for a long time. And we definitely met all of our critical needs, for sure, and then some in some areas. We'll get back together in February, and we'll see what happens and shakes out between now and then. I have no idea. Sometimes juniors decide to leave early. Sometimes maybe a guy decides to graduate and move on. Who knows? You know, whatever. But we'll also have some preferred walk-ons that'll sign up with us in February and into the summer. So we're not done with this class from a totality standpoint, but we'll see how it all finishes up. But to this point, an unbelievable group. We've got a talented team returning in the spring. We got a really talented team coming back. It's going to be a lot of fun to coach. So the 16 mid-years is huge for us because we have all these guys that are obviously moving on. So just from a functionality of practice, to be able to have 16 new guys out there that are getting a head start as opposed to having to wait for the whole class to get here in the summer, I think that really is going to pay huge dividends and allow us to continue to have the competitive depth that we need to keep moving our program forward. So I'm excited about that part of it. We have 14 states represented in this class. I think that is just an amazing reflection of the strength of our brand. And, you know, all these kids that 10 years ago were 8 have grown up as 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, watching Clemson and watching the success of our program on and off the field. And they want to come see, they want to come be a part of it. And we all know that when a guy comes to Clemson, they realize this is a special place. And so it's been really neat for me to travel around to so many different places and kind of validate and see firsthand why they chose us. Because when I go and I see their environment and their type of families, it's very easy for me to see and get, you know, exactly why they chose Clemson and why they felt like we were a good fit for them. Our staff always does an amazing job, and I tell you, from Streeter to Sorrells to Thad to Ty Clements, Morgan Tadlock, they just doing a great job. The recruiting never stops. I mean, it is a non-stop thing. Everything in college football is about personnel. You know, whether it be your staff or the players that you're bringing in, the players that are on your team, the development of them, you name it. And our staff works tirelessly all the time, as does our families, because our families are a huge part of the recruiting process, for sure. So just appreciate everybody's hard work. You know, when you have guys come on this campus, it's an all hands on deck mentality, whether it be from our academics, our strength conditioning, our nutrition, the chefs, obviously the football coaches, all the support. I mean, it is President Clements, Dan Radakovich, Graham. I mean, everybody is involved in the recruiting process. So it takes a lot of work, and I just appreciate all the efforts by so many. So fun day. We got a bunch of guys graduating tomorrow. Some of them graduating again tomorrow, like Christian Wilkins, Justin Falcinelli. How about him? He's finishing up his MBA, walking out of here with an undergrad and an MBA. And you know, he was a guy that we signed originally as a gray shirt. You know, he's just a kid I liked, and I'm like, you know what, this guy's got something to him, and he came in here, and now here's Fauci walking away with an MBA. He's been on 4 ACC championship teams. He's been a multi-year starter for us and a daggum good football player, and have a chance to play some more football if he wants to. So just really proud of those guys for getting it done and finishing up their graduation today. So when this is over for me, somebody's calling me. That's Danny Poole. We'll call him back. But when this is over, for me, it's getting back to work on the Cotton Bowl. And, you know, we're excited about practice today. This is kind of the final part of our bowl prep, if you will. But a great opportunity for us today to really polish and hone in on our plan. And give the guys off tomorrow. We got guys graduating tomorrow, but give the guys off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we'll get back together at 11:30 Sunday morning. We'll practice here, and then load up and head to Dallas. So looking forward to that.
Coach Tyson seems to be a type of quarterback that fits your offense really well. What makes him such a good fit both on and off the field for you?
Well, first of all, who he is as a person. You know, I always say we recruit people first. And man, he's just an amazing young man, special great family. I mean, just awesome, awesome people. Sam and his mom, Jasmine. I mean, these are salt of the earth folks. He's got great size. He has tremendous athleticism, and I think he's still got it all in front of him. He's at a smaller school. It's a very unbelievable environment he's coming from. He's been at this boarding school since the 9th grade, a lot like Christian Wilkins. You know, Christian Wilkins is at Suffield Academy. He's at Avon Olds Farm. You probably know where that is, Tim. But I'd never been there, but it was one of the most fascinating places I've been to. It was built in 1927. I think some lady had all the land and maybe built it to honor her dad or husband or something. But it looks like Harry Potter world. I mean, that's where I thought I was. I'm like going through the woods going, where am I going and where are the hobbits? You know, they're going to hop out at any point. And all the roofs are like, you know, Snow White, the Seven Dwarves, you know, and the slate on the roofs came from England. I mean, you couldn't build something like that anymore. I mean, it's crazy. With the little mess hall where you go eat, it's the original tables from 1927. It was a fascinating place. But everybody I met there, I'd say, well, how long have you been here? I've been here 30 years. I've been here 25 years. Oh, I've been here 18 years. I've been here 20 years, which tells you really all you need to know, that it's a pretty special place. And that's the culture that he's coming from. And and it also tells you the type of maturity. A lot like Christian, his transition will be very easy for him. He's been living in a closet for 4 years. I mean, literally a closet, like pull the sheet back, and here's your bed, here's your desk, and that's where you live. Coat and tie every day. So just a really, you know, unique. So it's really neat for me to be able to go and kind of see where he's coming from. And but very talented. Got I think a bright future and got a bright mind for the game. So we're excited to add him in as a mid-year as well. So he'll be one of those guys that obviously we don't have many quarterbacks right now. So getting another guy like him in the fold is huge.
Dabo, if your receivers already look pretty good walking off the bus, what's it going to look like out of
if it was a beauty pageant, we'd win. That's for sure, because they are three great-looking prospects. I mean, Frank Ladson is 6'5", can run like the wind. I mean, he's as fast as the guys we've had come through. Great ball skills. You know, I got a chance to see all these guys, those two in particular, in camp. Him and Spector, and man, just really, really talented group. And then you throw in Ngata, who is very unique, thick, you know, long arms, great length, great ball skills, very natural ball skills. All three of these guys, it's just a natural thing for them. This is going to be a fun group to coach. I think all three could play anywhere. And I think by the time their career's over, they will play everywhere. But it's exciting. You know, high character guys. All three will be mid-years, so all three will be here and going through spring practice. And you know, it's really good. Obviously, we're losing Renfro and Travion, so to get those three guys in the mix, and you know, T going to be a junior, and Mario will be a junior next year. It's a great opportunity for them to come in and you know, be a part of a really, really good group.
Everybody pays attention to the number of stars by a guy's name. Is there one that maybe isn't quite as highly regarded on some of those websites that you think has a chance to be a really good player?
Well, I mean, you know, I don't know all their stars in my head, so I really can't. You'd have to throw one out there. I mean, I don't know. Give me one of them that's not highly rated, and I can maybe, because they're all highly rated to me when I look at them. So I'd have to.
Like the kid, Caleb Boateng, that you recently offered and got on board.
Boating.
Yeah.
It's like you're going boating. So he made sure I knew how to say it right. And he's a kid that I think he's a good example of that. That's a really good example. I don't know what he was rated. I just know he was a guy that we had been on early. He came to campus. But we did not have a big need in the OL this year. We only had 2 seniors. So next year's class will be a big class for us. But we wanted to go out and sign 2 or 3 guys, but we weren't trying to sign, you know, a big number. And so as a result of that, we just didn't offer many people. Because again, I want our offer to mean something. I don't want to offer somebody and not be able to take their commitment. And so, as some of y'all who know, who follow us, we're really slow to offer a lot of these guys. But he was a guy that we really liked. It's just we had a couple of guys that we were kind of going to wait and see what they were going to do. And so, you know, but instead of playing games and all that, we just tell everybody the truth. But he's a very, very talented player, and we're really fortunate that you know, he was still there and receptive. You know, sometimes these guys get their feelings hurt and stuff because maybe you didn't offer them right out of the gate. But we articulate all that up front. I mean, again, we don't throw 20 offers out there to when you got a couple spots and then guys want to commit and you tell them, well, I'm sorry, we're going to wait on this guy. It's a non-committable offer. I don't know what non-committable offer means, you know. You can make them an offer or you don't. Now, if you fill up, you fill up. But so he was one of those guys, and Brent did a great job of kind of hanging in there. And you know, we had a young man that we really hoped we were going to get, and he chose to go elsewhere. And so that kind of put us back, because we were really just kind of holding steady. And sometimes that's the way it goes. So you know, this kid was so thankful that we called and said, "Hey, you still interested in Clemson?" And so I'm excited about Caleb coming in here. And you watch his tape. I mean, he's nasty. He's physical. He's athletic. I mean, he's running downfield, jumping over piles, changing direction, chasing little guys. And when you're a 300-pounder and you can do that, that tells you a lot about the type of athleticism that you're getting. But the other thing about him is he really, really wanted to be here. And he didn't have his feelings hurt, you know. And I think Falcinelli had, I don't know, he probably had 30 offers. He had offers all over the place, but he's got Coach Swinney telling him, hey, look, I don't have a scholarship for you right now. You know, if you sign, you have to come knowing you're going to be a gray shirt. Now, if it works out, then you'll come on in, but I can't guarantee you that. I'm not going to lie to you, so I wouldn't want you to come not knowing that. And but Fauci wanted to be here. He sat right there in front of his mom and dad and said, this is where I want to be. And if I got to wait till January, I'll wait till January. Well, you know, I love guys like that are passionate about where they want to go, and 9 times out of 10, they turn out to be really good players. And I think that's the situation with Caleb Bowden. I think he'll be a heck of a player. He's excited. He's going to be a mid-year. So he's got a chance to get right here in January and get going. Same thing with Hunter Raber. I don't know if he was a highly rated guy or not, but we love Hunter Raber. Man, this kid is an athlete. He's a basketball player, baseball. You ought to see him play baseball. Baseball player, football player. He can play probably all 5 positions, but really wants to be a center. And when you look at his body type and his athleticism, you think of a Dalton Freeman type of a guy, even Fauci. I mean, he's a big, athletic guy that's got a chance to play center and guard, but a true, legit guy that can get in there and get it done at center. So I think we hit it out of the park. We met our needs. Next year's going to be a huge class for us in that OL, and we're off to a great start in that class. And we'll add a couple more before it's over with.
Seems like Andrew Booth's going to be hard to keep off the field as a young player. What did you guys like about him?
I mean, there's nothing not to like. I mean, first of all, he's a great kid. We hit it off in the recruiting process early on. Awesome family, very close family, and but I mean, he can do. I mean, he's guys like him are hard to find. I mean, he's a ready-made guy, you know, coming out of high school. Kind of like A.J. Terrell. He's just one of those guys that's got the length, got the physicality, he's got the wheels, he's got a good football mind and demeanor and savviness. He's played on both sides of the ball. I mean, he can do it all, man. He is a really, really talented football player. And, you know, a guy that's definitely a little ahead of his time as far as, you know, where most guys are as a high school kid. I mean, he's an elite prospect for sure, and if he'll put the work in, I don't have any doubt that'll translate well here in college.
Can you expand a little bit on the reason of not doing any more official visits in the spring?
Yeah, we've never done any, so it's not about doing any more. We've never done one. Right. Well, that was just for me, you know, again, where we are as a program is I just want guys that, I mean, it's easy to get on a plane and fly. You may not have any interest in Clemson whatsoever. But if Clemson calls and they want to pay for you to come and feed you and put you in a hotel, well, who don't want to go do that? Sign me up. Let's go, man, and get a weekend. Let's go. Well, you know, that to me is good. But number one, I don't like offering a bunch. I'm always trying to slow it down, and I don't like offering a bunch of kids that I don't know a whole lot about. I want to know. I want to know who they are, and again, I want to be prepared to accept the guy's commitment. You know, I mean, I had a great prospect in here the other day. That's exactly what I told him. I was like, man, if if I offer you right now and you commit to me, I mean, I don't even know you. I just met you. I mean, we know nothing about each other. And, you know, I'd like to, I mean, can you play like 2 years of varsity football? You know, maybe drive a car. Let's talk a little bit, you know? I mean, I don't think that's too much, and that's where recruiting is gone. And I'm trying to always, you know, pump that brakes. There's no 9th or 10th grader that gets an offer from Clemson unless it comes from me. So if you ever read about that, that's not accurate. It can only come from me. And we've had plenty of those guys, but they're guys that I know. I knew them. They've been in our camp. I told Trevor as a 9th grader, I cannot offer you a scholarship. I told him in my office, right over there. I said, I know you're probably never going to come back here again, and I know you got 50 offers, but I don't know you. I just met you. I'm sure you'll be a guy. But now after I watched him his sophomore year and he came, I'm like, you know what? I like him. Let's go with him. Let's offer that guy. But that came from me, you know. But you know, I mean, I don't want to just see. I mean, who does that? But that's what happens in recruiting. Here comes this beautiful lady walking across. Hey, will you marry me? Well, she says yes. Well, she might look good, but you might hate each other. You know what I'm saying? Who does that? But that's what happens in this recruiting process. You just throw a million offers out there, and I don't like that. You know, I want to know who we're going to be a part of. You know, I mean, we don't sign JUCO players. We don't sign grad transfers to come in here and be one-offs. We don't do that. So we better be right with who comes in the door. And then in our program, it's still graduation, do you part. So my point is it's easy to do that. I want guys that are sincerely interested in coming to Clemson. I don't need any practice recruiting. And I don't like wasting time. You know, I want to be transparent, and I want prospects to be transparent. And I want them, if they're really interested in Clemson, then they're gonna come here unofficially on their own. And so my message to the staff was that if they won't come unofficially, they're not gonna come for 4 years. So, you know, that's, now again, you might have a situation late in late December, late January, like a situation that happened to us our first year in 2015. I didn't know who Isaiah Simmons was a week before signing day. Never heard of him. I didn't know who Kayvon Wallace was. Never heard of him. I didn't know who Travis Etienne was until, I had never met him until January of his senior year. Sometimes the situations present themselves that create change. You know, we had 4 DBs leave after that that first national championship year that I was counting on coming. I didn't know they were leaving. And I'm not going to give their spots away until I know that they're not coming. I'm counting on them. They got their spot. Well, they say, hey, I'm leaving. So now we got like 3 weeks to go recruit DBs. And so, you know, I mean, that's just, we got pretty good guys. They turned out to be pretty good. Call them up. Hey, you got a visit left? I'd like to get to know you. Like your tape, but let's see if it's a fit. You know, so he obviously didn't come unofficially. He came on the official, but this is a week before signing day. So it's a little different. But early in the process, you know, I want guys to really be invested and want to come see Clemson. Be interested enough. And so, you know, and the coach is under a lot of pressure. Well, I believe it was E.T., as a matter of fact, because that was one of them that was about, because he was taking his officials, I believe it was at Tenosa. And, but I told Brandon, I said, if he takes an official visit here, it's going to be on the back end. I said, if he's not coming here, and so, you know, he came, and his family came. And the kid ended up committing to Clemson, and we were the only place he didn't officially visit. You know, but he was interested enough and had followed our program enough that he wanted to come see it. And so that's just my personal philosophy, because again, I think when a guy comes unofficially, then he, to me, is sending you a message that, you know what, hey, I'm interested in Clemson. Now, he may hate it when he gets here, but at least he came on his own. And so that's just my personal philosophy. And so, and I told the staff, I said, I guarantee you we'll have 20 commits by August 1. Just watch. And we did. We had more than that by that time. And we unbelievable young people. So it's not that, it's just, to me, it's how I protect our program. It's how I protect our culture. You know, I'm not trying to be like everybody else. You know, I want to be Clemson. And Clemson's not for everybody. I understand that and I get that. But I want it to be a two-way street. And I want them to want to be here. you know, for Brighton Constantine to jump in the car from Baton Rouge and come all the way with his mom, you know, multiple times. You know, man, that's investment. That's commitment. I mean, there's some tension there. Been real easy for me to throw them on a plane in April and fly them in and put them up and all this stuff, you know. And then for me too, I just want more time to evaluate. And so that's kind of it's just how we do it. Now, 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have had any choice, you know. But our program was in a different place 10 years ago than we are right now.
Dabo, two-part question. One on a prospect, Taquan Johnson. The other one, is this class going to be the most challenging class for your PA announcer to announce?
That may be the case. Puma-chan. I think there's going to be a lot of nicknames.
Yeah. Ororo.
E.T., Rook, Ororo.
Ororo.
I've had so much fun with that one.
Can you say his first name?
That's his last name,
No,
Ororo.
can you say his first name?
Heck, Rook. Because Rook is the middle part of, there's like a part over here and a part over here, but Rook's in the middle. And so I have no idea how to say his first name. I just call him Rook. That's what his family calls him. That's what his teammates call him. I verified that when I went to his house. But he's something. We got some unique, and Joseph Ngata, and we got some neat names coming in this class. Levante, Bentley. So it'll be a good group. For sure.
Going back to Taquan there, whenever I talk to him,
Taquan, yeah.
it seems like he's a Christian Wilkins light almost. He runs
Yeah,
for class president or whatever he wants to do.
Well, that's a very good assessment. Yeah, he's a different type player than Christian. You know, he's not going to go play DN like Christian.
Right.
You know, I'm not putting him at tailback like Christian. He's more of a true inside, you know, big-bodied thumper in there, but really good player. But he's a unique story. You know, if you've really covered him and got to know him, he's got an interesting story. And I kind of fell in love with the kid when the first time I met him. And he came down here with his family, and he's got a little sister. Man, she is a trip. She is something else. But he's got this huge personality, and he has a really unique perspective for an 18-year-old kid. And I think that speaks to his experience that he's had growing up and challenges that he's had. And so I'm excited about adding him in here. He'll come this summer, but a really talented prospect for sure.
Dabo, is the fact that you only signed one in-state kid more of a reflection of your expanded recruiting footprint, or just that there weren't enough local guys to kind of fit?
Yeah, both. I'd say both. I'd say for us, you know, we're always inside out. I mean, we vet everything from the inside out. At the end of the day, we want to sign the best player, best fit, you know, that allows us to compete at the highest level. That's what we're charged to do. And this particular year in state, it wasn't a great year for us, you know, comparatively to some of the other kids that we evaluated. But we were very thorough in state. Then there was a couple kids that we would have loved to have had that you know, just we weren't the right fit for them. But we were very thorough inside. We South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, we recruit as one state, and that's where it all starts for us. And then we go from there. And then you have situations where people reach out to you, you know, and you're like, okay, well, if you're interested, let's evaluate. I mean, we didn't just go out to California, for example. You know, we had somebody reach out to us, and we're like, well, okay, well, let's check it out. Well, he's a pretty good player here. Okay, well, is he really interested? Well, and then we go from there. And then kid comes more than once. You know he's pretty sincere. You start learning about who they are and doing your due diligence. But so a little bit of both this year for us in state. And there's going to be a lot of guys signed, I think, Division I from South Carolina. It's awesome to see young people get opportunities, but you know, we got the guys that we felt like we needed this year. And again, a couple other guys in state that we'd love to have had, but we just didn't get. We weren't the right fit for them.
To expand on that, the recruiting footprint since you've gotten here and since you guys have had this run of success has really expanded. Can you relate and tell us any examples that we don't know about of the recruit reaching out or a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, if you just look at, we had 14 states, and, you know, we signed, Florida's, we got 6 guys from Florida, and that's a state that's always been good to Clemson. And Georgia, we signed 7. Alabama, we signed 2. We signed the #1 player in the state of Alabama last year, Justin Ross. And we're going back, and we got a lot of ties to that state, and we have a big brand in that state, obviously. So, and then we signed one from everywhere. I mean, North Carolina, we got Landon. He's from right up the road. Tennessee to go get Kane Patterson. You know, here's a kid that was originally committed to Ohio State, and we didn't offer him early, and then he committed to Ohio State, and his recruiting was over. And then all of a sudden, he opened his recruiting back up, and we were able to get in there, and he came over a couple times, and that was a great fit. And then Brighton, you know, Brighton's a perfect example. We hadn't signed anybody from Louisiana until we signed Travis. I never signed anybody from Michigan. We signed Mario out of Missouri last year, and then we go back this year. So I think it's just, but Brighton's a perfect example. Here's a kid that I think expressed an interest in Clemson. And so, I mean, we'll go wherever. It doesn't matter. I mean, we've signed kids out of Hawaii before. We'll go anywhere that a kid has an interest in Clemson if they're a good enough player, but they're also the type of person that we're interested in bringing in our program. But I think E.T. is another example over in Missouri. I think he reached out, and some of them, you know, we have all of our staff has a primary area that we're responsible for, but then our support staff will reach out to some of these national prospects that maybe aren't in our main footprint, and just kind of, you know, check the oil a little bit. Hey, is there any interest at all, any reciprocation at all? And if there is, then one of our full-time staff guys will take it from there. And I think we've had that on numerous occasions, and I think these guys, like I said, for the past 10 years, they've grown up watching Clemson. And so they're very interested. And there is no long distance anymore. It's a very small world. I mean, I went out to LA for 24 hours a week or so ago, and we were going to the Lakers game, and we were staying right across the street, and we're literally walking across the street. I met 3 Clemson grads, not together, 3 different spots, just walking across the street to the Staples Center. There's no long distance anymore. You know, the world is small. These kids all know each other. They see everything, and so you know, I think that's, and then obviously the success on and off the field has really created a lot of interest from a lot of guys who I think recognize the fit here.
Coach, it's your second.
The least amount of decommitments over the past 5 cycles of any team in the country. How much pride do you guys take in your retention rate?
Well, a lot, and we don't get many decommitments, and I think part of that is because I'm not trying to commit guys. You know, I try to keep them from committing. That may sound crazy to hear that, but that's really my philosophy. You know, and the coaches know that. They've been in the meetings with me enough time to know exactly what I'm going to say. So when a guy's ready to commit and he's in my office, he already knows what I'm going to say before I say it. But I don't want a guy to commit unless he knows that that's what he wants to do. There's nothing wrong with just going through the recruiting process. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. But I just believe if you're transparent and you are just honest with people and just tell them, hey, here's what commitment means, and if you can't if we can't agree on what that definition of commitment is, well then let's just keep recruiting. Now nobody gets mad. We don't have any drama. Hey, if it works out, it works out. But if you really want to be committed and you want me to be committed to you, well then here's what it means. Now we're all on the same page with that. Hey, let's hug necks and high five and let's go on about our business. But so everybody, there's not anybody here that's recruited any different. And so we just don't have a lot of that. And then I think continuity. You know, I mean, you see a lot of things, a lot of these decommitments, the coaches are fired or leave or whatever it may be, and you can understand when you have drastic changes like that. But And then we don't offer a lot of people, you know, we're very, focused, in the recruiting process. And this was a really challenging class because we knew we were gonna have to sign a big class, but we met a lot of needs early. I mean, these 2 tight ends we're signing, man, do we need to go and sign, we needed to hit a home run, and boy, we did. These are 2 great tight ends. We needed a quarterback. I wanted a big back, and man, Ches Malusi, golly, y'all gonna love him. He's gonna be a great player. We hit on 2 linemen. Obviously, we felt great about Tyson and committed him early. The 3 receivers are special. D-line is a huge need for us, and to bring in 5 D linemen is big. 4 of them at mid-year to give us the bodies that we need to be able to practice this spring. You know, those backers, I think we've got 4 or 5 backers that are walking out the door and taking a lot of knowledge with them, a lot of experience. So I think we hit a home run with the guys that we're bringing in here at linebacker. We signed 2 good corners last year. We added 2 good ones this year to really shore us up at that position. We love our safeties. And now to be able to add 4 more guys to that, because you know next year you're going to have Denzel's a senior, Muse a senior, Kayvon's a senior, Nolan will be a junior, and man, what a player he's turned out to be, and got 2 more years. He's going to be a great player when it's all said and done. And now to add 4 young guys to really shore up what we need there, and not just at safety, but our nickel Sam position. I mean, I just think we really hit our needs. And those guys, most of those guys have been committed forever. Joseph Charleston was, I think, the first commit in this class. And man, he's been locked in from day one. Just won a state championship. I think we had 5 guys maybe win state championships. So this is a really good class. And it was challenging, but a lot of fun to put it together.
Coach, you touched on it a little bit.
This will be our last one that we
How-
practice.
How different was it having to sign such a big class after the past few years having such a small?
Yeah, it's been a while. Last year was 17, and then the year before that was 14, I believe. So, you know, that's Brad Scott had his work cut out for him this year, you know, because he handles all the transition stuff, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. And then you throw in the fact that 16 of them are coming in January, and oh, by the way, we may not even be here. So Andy Johnson, if you're anywhere in Clemson, you better have your butt in Clemson in January, because we're going to need you if we're fortunate enough to get to California, because those guys will all be out there, and they'll move here on the 6th. So it was a lot of fun, and definitely a challenge when you're putting it all together. But when you're focused and you're organized and you're detailed, it comes together nice. Whether you're recruiting 20-something or you're recruiting 15, it's the same process. You just have more opportunities for more kids.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.